Episode 58 of What If Civilization Started Over. In the last episode then, we saw a load of major events happen. Kind of. Yeah, and now I've forgotten them all, so that's good. We saw this red country up here. I don't know, they're kind of fun. I just thought that'd be like a cool shape. We saw the Turkish country go to war with both of these countries. There's two random Saharan ones. More expansion into America, so that's cool. And I don't think too much happened in Europe. I might be wrong there. I'm usually wrong. Oh, China declared war on this purplish country, so they look very different now. Also, this video should be titled. I keep saying No, it should be titled 3 new layers or something. So that's because I've done the culture layer, fully updated except for Australia. But other than Australia, everything has its own ethnic groups. So America's very, very disgusting to look at, but it's kind of just a load of colonial stuff, and it makes America look really weird. You know, it's what it is. Baffin Island's got its own culture. Let's go. But yeah, we've got the rest of Europe done, and Africa's got its own stuff. Sicily's got 3, which makes sense if you think about it. Greece is green Greece because, I don't know, this is just kind of a fun layer that I might use in peace treaties and things like that. Indonesia's also pretty divided. But the other layers I was talking about, oh yeah, you can't see them in the bottom. They are the real life layer, because I've now figured out in my eternal wisdom how to overlay the real life countries onto this map. So that looks really cool. I do want to get onto actual stuff in a moment, so we're going to be quick with this. But like, you can look at Europe. France is in all of France. Hungary has its capital in Slovakia for the most part. Germany's smaller than Germany. Poland has most of Poland. They look really cool. There's orangish countries between loads of different places. Ukraine looks pretty fun. You're just entirely Russia. Caucasia's pretty cool. Turkey looks pretty cool. I don't know. This is just something that I thought, maybe you'd be interested in. Central Asia's a huge mess. Like, this greenish country is just revolting. They might actually be revolting. Like, in a country sense, in a few episodes. If not this episode. Anyway, we've also got real life provinces, which is just even more complicated, but, Oh well, I've also got that for all of these layers, just in case you're interested in this. I've got it for this layer, and I've also got it for this layer, which is the old Polish and Roman countries back in that time. Anyway, I'm done with doing that now. Let's go on to actual stuff. So, I also need to swap. Give me a second, I just need to swap around cities and provinces, because they are less important, or more important. Alright, cool. Let's get on with the video. First off, we're going to be going down here to Southeast Asia, because this greenish country has just made a bit of a mistake. So they were granted independence by the Southern Indians during the peace deal of the episode 50 war, the war for the Bay of Bengal, something like that. And unfortunately, they've been going against the people who created their country, kind of. They're an oligarchy, but they had business interests because they have a very important area of the world. And yeah, the red team has now given authority to Indochina to invade this territory. And unfortunately, Indochina is a top 15 power, and these guys have 3 major cities. So unsurprisingly, although the terrain here is pretty bad, the Indo-Chinese managed to take the capital city, move further down the Malay Peninsula, and take their other remaining major city. This country had very little hope, They were like, maybe if we try and be more corrupt, we'll survive. But they didn't. So unfortunately, unfortunately for them, Indochina has now taken them over. Also, unfortunately for the borders, because that doesn't look lovely. But oh well. Anyway, now we can head over here to China, because we need to do something really original in China. And that is go into the alliance layer, because we see the return of something great. Something that did absolutely nothing. And what I'd like to say is that we are re-releasing, or recreating, these circle lines here in China between the blue and the other country, the lilac sort of country. So yeah, they're back. They've recreated that alliance, and it's to stop Orange China. It was the first country who created that alliance, because they're afraid of just how much power Orange China has, because this country is terrifying, especially for those guys. Also got power rankings. France overtook Ukraine. That's it. That's all that changed from the last episode. Also, we're in 1832 now, so that's pretty fun. I'm not going to read them all out, because I already wasted some time looking at some of the fun sort of layer. So, let's get on with more war stuff, I suppose. Do we want to go to North America? Kind of. The Dutch are kind of going to basically finish off their colony. They're not really that interested in this stuff. The English more want that because the English colony has a lot more population. But the Dutch are going to move up into this northern area, into California, which will become very valuable into the future, but not right yet. Not right yet. The Koreans will also move their colony, and by that I mean they're going to make a new one, which is they're going to finally colonize the islands of Hawaii. So, yep, that entire island chain has been colonized by the Koreans. Good. And they're also going to move their colony up here in Alaska. Movement into Russia and some of the colder areas of the world has happened in Russia. And the Koreans are going to take inspiration and move their own colony up onto whatever sea this is. I'm not sure. Arctic? Probably the Arctic Sea. Ocean? Thing? Bering Sea? That's to the west. Yeah, there we go. So that looks probably, hopefully, kind of cooler. The Germans will follow the same sort of idea, moving their colony up slightly further into... What part of Canada is this? Nunavut, Northwest Territory thing? I don't really know. I have like a general idea of where everything might be in Canada, but I'm not an expert on that. Well, I should be. I should get better at knowing Canada stuff. Anyway, yeah, I apparently can't draw freaking German stuff in. Oh my god. I just give up with Germany now. Get out of Canada. Cool. So right, the Germans take over this area. The English are going to move their colony. Well, they're British now. I've finally learned how to say their name is English instead of British, and then now it's all wrong. So it's annoying. Anyway, they move their colony up into this area and also around on the other side of the lake. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, they're kind of close in between the border between Canada and the United States at this point. But their colony has also become extremely huge, which is very scary. It's not going to be coast to coast like the United States in real life, but you know, it's still a pretty scary place. Like, this is rather a strong country. Anyway, we can go back to Europe now because we need to do more wars here. Actually, we need to do something pretty interesting, which is a union, as we can move down here over to Belgium. In the last episode, we saw alliances. We didn't do that, apparently. So I guess we're going to do that now. Because France is going to be exiting the Triangle Alliance. They are not threatened by any more of their neighbours. They are now the 9th strongest country in the entire world. So yeah, they're not really that scared. However, what we do see happening after... Okay. Norway, finally, it's helping itself to, become a country. They will join the Triangle Alliance, and another country also joins, which is a country who very much wants to be in this alliance, because they are very afraid of Turkey. You know, Turkey's down here in southern Italy. They've got all this Adriatic stuff, and even Libya's kind of threatening. Yeah. So the Triangle Alliance has lost France, which is pretty important, but they have gained Norway and Italy. Neither of which... Oh, wait, is Norway... Norway's a top 10 power, aren't they? You're 8th, aren't you? Yeah. Yeah, okay. Alright, it's a good trade. Never mind. That was fine. Speaking of Norway, they're going to finally expand Greenland. We've had this, the same borders since the time of Denmark. So, yeah, I'm finally deciding to actually change these borders slightly. And what the Norwegians will be doing is connecting up both of these colonies. Now, how many people are living here? I'd say about a good 13. So, yeah, it's probably just seasonal trader people killing walruses or whales or something like that. Yeah, some very anti-environmental thing like that. Yeah, the Norwegians moved their Greenland colony. No one else is going to go here, so they've kind of just been at ease in colonizing this. But, oh well, might as well finally colonize lots more of it. But there you go. Let's take off the alliance layer whilst we're there. And we can head down here to Morocco. I swear, I'm not going to be doing that much more expansion in this episode. But I have realized that Morocco hasn't moved at all in countless episodes. It has just been constantly under the Spanish control, and the Spanish just never let them expand. So finally we will be expanding the Moroccan country, and now their borders look really hideous. So I'm going to be changing them. As they expand much further into these central areas of... don't worry about that. It's a telephone, but it'll be fine. The Moroccans expand much further into the central areas of Africa, kind of near the Atlas Mountains, but they're over here. And I think the Atlas, Appalachian, Pennines, and Greenland mountains all used to be connected. I read that somewhere, but I mean, don't entirely trust me. I'm not the friggin' oracle or something. Anyway, we need to go over here to southern Azerbaijan, because that's what this area is called. Because unfortunately for this country, they have become the target to the next bout of Turkish expansion. the Turkish kind of just want to become the new Mesopotamian Empire, and they're doing pretty well at that, as they move out into the central parts of this country, take over this major city here, and then start a movement towards the capital city. However, the Orange country, who expanded kind of recently, will also send their military out, which is very dedicated. They have that crusader mentality, and they will take over some of this territory. Yeah, that's about that really. I'm just going to colour it in Old Turkish to make it easier for a second, but they will split it up evenly. If you go into the culture layer, you can see that the Orange Team culture spreads a bit into this country, but religion's the more important bit because you can see it expands into all of those areas, which also matches up very well with the province map, so that's fortunate. How do I turn this off? There we go. I always forget how to do that. Anyway, we can now get down to dividing this country up. I'm going to start with the Orange Team because I'd rather its borders looked better. Because I think these ones are going to change a lot less than the Turkish ones. Just going to put out there, Turkey might be going into a few more wars in their time. Yeah, they might be more of an important player than the Orange country, who's just really random and has ended up becoming important for some reason. Anyway, they will take over the capital city. Capital city provinces of this country, so that's good for them, I guess. Whilst the Turkish country will take over all of this region, they now have a coast on the Caspian Sea, and the Orange team's just slightly more elongated. So, hooray for Orange team. And yeah, Azerbaijan just looks really, really out of place because they're really surrounded by the Turkish. Anyway, we need to head up north to a Turkish ally, actually, in the Ukrainian country, because Ukraine is doing something they probably should have done like a while ago, which is invade the Donbass country. Now, the Donbass country hasn't really ever done a whole lot. If you look at they are pretty much in Donbass. And yeah, they invaded the Caucasian country once, and that was about it. They are a pretty rich country because of the land's pretty good here. That's what river is that? Volga. Yeah, the Volga River is pretty important. However, Ukrainian troops are going to move across the border and take the capital city because it's right there. And these guys just didn't expect it. They're pretty well aligned, and Ukraine is the main trading partner of the Volga country. So they take that city of Azov, basically, and push around here until what we see happening in the north is another invasion into this city, and then start to move towards some of these other cities. The problem is that this country has a lot of population and a lot of spread around cities. That is kind of annoying. They are going to try and make a movement into some of these central parts of the Ukrainian country, getting in the outskirts of this city and taking two of them, because the Ukrainians weren't really defending them very well. But the Ukrainians send some forces back, and they will retake. Yeah, I can't even see that color very well. Retake the city, so that's good. A Ukrainian spearhead or pincer thing from both sides will move in towards this city, which we would just flee out there. And in the end, what we see happening is a city surrender. No one's really left here who wants to fight, so they surrender as well. That's lucky. Good that everyone's just surrendering for you. And we see them take this other city until finally the Astrakhan country, this reddish one over here, is going to move out across the Volga River and take these two major cities, which is where the king of the country had retreated. They then move out into this area, but this country is not super strong. Over the coming days, we see the Ukrainians finally capitulate this country, and we can now sit down for a peace deal. So that's good. Give me a second. There we go. Looking at culture and other things, because apparently I'm using this layer now. They kind of spread over here, and the Ukrainian, they spread over here. Caucasia's down here in the south, and we have the northern Russian one over here, and then Uralia. Yeah, this country is just incredibly divided. Oh, as for religion, I feel like that could be kind of obvious. Duh. They're just only part of the European religion. So that's good, and now we can go to a peace deal. Yeah, of course, I'm also going to do this. Just because then it's easier to draw on. That's all. The Ukrainians are not occupying all of this territory. Anyway, Astrakhan is a country we've not seen do anything yet, so this is kind of nice. They're finally joining in. We see them take over this province over here, and they just want to make a cool, spiky looking border. That's what I want for these guys. And that's going to look something like this, hopefully. Hopefully that's good. I'm not really sure. Well, I can't say it's amazing, but it'll be alright. And the Ukrainians will take over the remainder of the Donbass country, which will look something like this. So yeah, they kind of just look like they took over all of Donbass. They just took over these final provinces over here, and Astrakhan has a much bigger forehead, horn thing. And yeah, that's basically it for this episode, except one final thing. You thought I was done. No, we need to, well, not one final thing. I decided I'm going to do 2 now. You lucky guys. Anyway, the gold country over here is inspired by stuff they've seen, well, probably heard of in the West. Probably not seen. And they are also going to move north towards this river, lake thing. Lake Baikal ripoff. That's what this is. They move north into this area as, the Russians are now on the Arctic Sea. So yeah, you should probably get on with getting up there. About 3 people live in this place, so it's kind of tricky for them to do that. But they do it anyway, and their country looks reasonably horrific. So I'm going to restore it to its old sort of borders just by doing something like this. And that looks kind of better. We can also go over here to Korea because they took over Hawaii, but they're also going to take over the remainder of the Kamchatka Peninsula as they're inspired by the Gold Country to do that. So they take over all of this territory. Oh, damn it. Yeah, cool. Looks nice. And now we can head over onto our final event of the video because, I don't know, this video's not super long. Which is this green country basically just falling into a civil war. In terms of culture and religion, it's alright. This country is basically the same culture. You can't really see that very well. And religion is highly mixed. But don't worry. Actually, I might just... as you can see, there's the blue team religion. And then we have the Persian, Indian, and Persian. So they all kind of bleed over into this country. Do you have your own one? I think you do. No, that's just another group of Persian. So yeah, this country is highly, highly divided. I also made a new, whatever it's called, a new blue team Bengali religion, just because I thought that was probably something that should exist. But it looks kind of the same as the African one. So that's annoying. Anyway, yeah, this country, what's going to happen here actually is that we see this country get taken over by a warrior aristocracy. Sorry, my voice is dying. It's kind of influenced by the yellowish country to the south, and, they fought alongside them. They attacked another council, so you can definitely tell this country is not entirely a great place. Also, this country is an absolute monarchy. But people in the south want to recreate the council that ruled the country because they believe that was a lot better for the country. So, some people will split off in the south. There's not a whole lot of cities, there's like a few, and declare their own nation, which is going to look something like whatever I get the colour for. Some sort of purplish thing. It's mostly based in the cities because that's where all these philosophical people are who are like, oh, we should be ruled by a council because democracy is good, even though not a single Asian country has been democratic yet. We even see some people out in this city, and they go along the borders of the Tibetan region because that is a democratic council country. We do see this group wiped out over here, just not just by green team forces, but also by forces from the yellowish country, as more forces push in to these rebellious areas and even cut them off. However, these groups, actually their military is surrounded, and that is a major loss for the green team, which doesn't have that much of a military really. So in the end, we see the entire region swallowed up. The yellow team realizes that it's not that much point defending this country because the same sort of thing is going to happen later on. And whilst this country is kind of in their sphere of influence, it's also in this one. So, yeah. And now we can go to a peace treaty because this country is going to lose. Yeah, I just kind of wanted them to lose. Yeah. So, in the peace treaty then, we are going to see this country lose quite a few provinces, including this really far north one. But they took that later on in the rebellion when I didn't show you it. Yeah, I could just say that, I guess. So they take over all these weird looking provinces. I don't know what I was on when I drew some of these. Some strange looking provinces. But it's alright. I don't mind. I think this country's got some hideous provinces as well. I don't know. There's some really weird stuff going on in Central Asia. And also, finally, we need to see this weird looking dog province, maybe? I'm not sure. What is that? The one north of it. But yeah, a few holes in the border, maybe? Sorry, I go silent with these I just don't know what to say. That's annoying. Probably for you guys. Yeah, that's very, very bright. I'm gonna make that slightly easier to look at. Also, maybe more pink. I'm not really sure. I don't know what color to make this place. I really don't know. I'll make it like that. That's alright. It is a pretty huge country. I don't know if I like this color in this region. The mapping thing is starting to annoy me. Of course, this country will be released as a council. And also, I guess we can talk about another council thing, which is what's going on over here in, whatever it's called. Catalonia, because of course I was talking about the Catalonia Conference, which is all about what we should do about the red southern Indian country, and more countries are going to start to attend the Catalonia Conference. You're like, oh, we should do this to it. As the British are like, you should just be nice, just don't go to war, maybe give them the city back. You know, it's religiously, it is actually Spanish. So just give them the city back. And what the southern Indians do in response to that is actually just start not trading with the British. They don't let them go to their ports and they stop trading with them. That's very bad if you're British, because it's kind of a good place to trade with, is the strongest country in the world. So they're going to join this conference, and so will the other British allies, which are mostly European and colonial powers. And yeah, we could definitely see this heating up. Is it all going to come to a head in episode 60? I don't know. Anyway, this video has somehow become 20 minutes long, so thanks for watching, and I will hope to see you again next time. Goodbye, and have a nice rest of your day.